This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. Economic concern tonight. The nation's economy slowed dramatically in the second quarter to its weakest showing in nearly 3 years. CBS News business correspondent Ray Brady looks at whether this means we're heading for a recession or the more desired so-called soft landing, that is, more growth, but at a slower rate.
They're starting to happen. Plant closings, worker layoffs. At this General Motors plant in Massachusetts, workers just yesterday got their pink slips.
I've been through it before. I think I'll probably be through it again. We'll be back. I'm confident.
In today's figures, the economy has slowed from last year's fast 4.4% growth rate to 1.7%, the slowest the economy has moved in nearly 3 years.
It's moderate growth, but it's still definitely growth. It's not decline.
I say we are in or could be in a recession because industrial production has declined in the last 2 months. Factory employment has dropped in the last 3 months. The leading economic indicators probably fell in 5 of the 6 months of this year.
And with interest rates high, consumers have cut back on their spending. Another factor hitting the economy by slowing up housing and driving autos into a slump. Just today, Ford and General Motors reported a drop in earnings, with Chrysler announcing that it's cutting 2,300 people.
We've got overcapacity in this industry staring at us for the long-term future. We have a softening market. We have a somewhat slowing economy.
Today's GNP figures also show a jump in inflation to an uncomfortably high 4.9%. But some economists argue that a slowdown in the economy is exactly what's needed to cool off prices.
A continuation of slow growth for the next 6 months, certainly, maybe 9 months, and then another economic upturn. I think we're doing fabulous, incidentally.
Two small banks cut the prime rate today, and it's expected the government and the big banks will soon act to lower all interest rates, a move many hope will come in time to stimulate the economy and head off any impending recession. Dan?
Ray, thanks. The United Auto Workers Union, in a head-to-head test of strength with a wholly Japanese-owned auto plant in the United States, today lost badly. Blue-collar workers at the Nissan plant in Smyrna, Tennessee, voted to reject the union's bid to represent them by nearly 70%. Aaron Hayes has our report.
Team One, they call themselves, a family that didn't think it needed a union. Nissan management reveled in it, a better than 2-to-1 victory. Nothing will change, the company said. Management will always listen.
We believe if we do that, the UAW will never organize this plant.
Very disappointing that we lost, and we're disappointed, of course, that we lost by the margin that we lost.
Workers made it clear why the UAW lost.
It's like DDT. Once it was necessary, it isn't anymore.
We've got it made here.
This kind of response was not what the UAW was expecting.
Maybe this is discouraging for a while.
The union had made an issue of worker safety at Nissan. The union miscalculated.
The UAW has to think about what it can provide, what it can sell in these campaigns. What is it that the union can uniquely provide in the form of representation?
3 years ago, the union failed to organize the Honda plant in Marysville, Ohio. UAW organizers had hoped to open the doors at Honda with a win at Nissan today. Industry analysts say the UAW understands this was a major loss.
It establishes a crack in the wall of unionism in the American automobile manufacturing industry.
Observers say the UAW's loss here may have left the union limping into an even more important fight: next year's new contracts with the big three American automakers. Aaron Hayes, CBS News, Smyrna, Tennessee.
The departure of good-paying union factory jobs from the industrial north is having a devastating impact on the region's many black workers. Correspondent Bob McNamara reports on Detroit's black auto workers losing not just a job, but a share of the American dream.
For thousands of Detroit's blacks, making cars is now just a memory, and reality is a shattered economy and opportunity lost.
The eliminating of the factory jobs to the blacks has been devastating.
For decades, Detroit auto plants were wells of opportunity for blacks. The wages good, expectations high. Car making, the backbone of blue-collar black America. For almost half of Detroit's black working adults, a good life was made on the line.
It allowed them to increase home ownership, in the city, and actually have really a piece of our pie, piece of the American pie.
But that's gone. Detroit auto plants have all cut back or shut down. The cars that made Motown are mostly made elsewhere. A disaster for black auto workers.
It was really the only avenue that I knew that would get me into the type of pay level that I needed to provide for my family.
Joe Wilson spent 24 years in the auto industry, and now his small business, tapes and T-shirts, earns less than half of what the factory paid.
If you get into the factory and make $35,000, you're living pretty comfortable, right? You ain't got to worry about making ends meet. But try making ends meet at 17.
Worse off is Wilson's son Craig, who lost a job in a plant shut down 2 years ago, lost a house, a car, and had his in-laws take in his family.
It just makes you feel inadequate and, you know, helpless. And then what else can you do, you know? What else can you do?
Even skilled workers have it rough. 25 years in auto factories, William Pitts hustles for plumbing jobs, complaining that available plant work today goes first to younger white men.
Black people just want the same thing that white people want. They want a job. They want a job, a decent living for their family. That's all. That's all you can ask for.
The pain at this house is the fear of losing the house. For Lucy Bennett, the auto work she lost 2 years ago was security for herself and her sons. Her hope now that computer schooling brings at least temporary work.
What was it like there when you're working every day and you're getting a good paycheck?
That's beautiful. I didn't have too many complaints. I still wasn't living classy, but I was able to take care of my family, provide for them like I wanted to.
Plant shutdowns, businesses boarded up, 15,000 abandoned buildings now in Detroit. Falling economic dominoes take a human toll.
We see more boarded up homes. We see more families broken up. I began to see more guys on narcotics. There was no narcotics. More guys drinking more liquor.
Today, Detroit's black auto workers see new Japanese-owned auto plants opening in the U.S., but providing work to 50% fewer blacks. And they see U.S. car companies that counted on them also counting them out. The car makers, whose profits hit $11 billion last year, an all-time high. The same companies that put resources into plants out of town where 25% fewer blacks live, or built factories overseas where labor is cheap, but still depicting black auto workers in their ads.
One thing hasn't changed. We still build them to last.
This is the plant where Bobby Reeves built cars until it was closed.
They can sit around those big tables and make all these decisions about how things should be, but they're destroying people. That's what they are, the bombs. You don't need guns, you don't need drugs, you don't need none of that. The ones that sit behind that big desk, those are the ones destroying the little America that we have.
People don't tend not to treat you the same when you're not working. You know, you feel bad. It's not your fault because you're out of a job, but you feel bad.
My self-esteem is not what it used to be.
Freedom has to be tied to money in this country. In order to get money, one has to have a good job.
There are many abandoned lives beyond the locks and fences of Detroit's deserted auto plants. But for the black auto worker, loss of a job is a crueler fate because it meant so much more. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Detroit.
A report out tonight says black Americans still lag far behind white Americans economically. According to the National Research Council, the gap has not narrowed since the early 1970s, and at times it has widened. The report says blacks were hurt harder than whites by U.S. economic slowdowns in the past 2 decades, and the report concludes that continuing racial discrimination remains a major barrier to economic improvement for black Americans. Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News. Leslie Stahl on a cool accused spy and hot FBI pursuit. And Bruce Morton on hot summer air, hard to breathe and easy to see.
There's a lot of thought behind the engineering that goes into a Saab. But one of the most thoughtful things about a Saab wasn't designed by an engineer. It was engineered by an accountant. It's a Saab lease from Saab Scania Financial Services Corporation. It's for Saabs only. And it's a very smart way to drive a very intelligent car. Right now, you can lease a fully equipped Saab 900 for only $235 a month.
Norman, what's that?
Nothing, honey.
I asked a simple question. Norman, are you eating something?
It's nothing, honey.
He lies like a dog.
Kellogg's Nut and Honey Crunch. Crisp golden flakes glazed with sweet honey and real roasted peanuts.
Irene, what's that you're playing?
Nothing, honey. Two can play this little game.
Kellogg's Nut and Honey Crunch.
Ever since Unisom, people have abandoned their old sleep medicine because medical tests prove people fall asleep faster and sleep better all night with Unisom than without. Take Unisom for faster, better sleep.
We interrupt this fill-up
Charge it.
to remind you the Discover card pays you cash back for every charge. Well, we're on our way. It pays to Discover.
President Bush called today for stepped-up security at U.S. embassies and improved counterintelligence. His comments came as the FBI dug into the past of Felix Bloch, the U.S. diplomat suspected of, but still not charged with, spying for the Soviets. Bloch was on the move today, and as Leslie Stahl reports, so were federal agents.
Felix Bloch, once a respected diplomat, now a suspected spy, stalked so closely by the FBI that today agents walked right alongside. One reason for the tight pursuit, say intelligence sources, to prevent a KGB rescue attempt. Bloch left an apartment in Manhattan this morning and returned to his daughter's house in Chappaqua, New York, with agents keeping up their game of psychological intimidation in hopes Bloch will break under the pressure and confess. But intelligence sources say that if Bloch is guilty, he is very clever, has been meticulous in his methods. He's under investigation because of our improved counterintelligence capabilities that can catch people in the net. President Bush echoed that view.
I will also point out that it was the counterintelligence capability of our country that at least is bringing some of the facts to light so far.
The Soviet Union went on record today denying they had turned Felix Bloch, denying he sold them U.S. secrets.
The name of Bloch was not familiar to us, and we have no connection with him. We have nothing to do with him.
Denials or not, and despite Gorbachev's glasnost, U.S. officials say KGB activity is up dramatically over the last 2 years, with a focus on American technology. As the Soviet military spends less, spying becomes more important. The Kremlin must know exactly where and how to spend its scarcer defense rubles.
That in terms of espionage, at least, the Cold War is not over. The arms race may be winding down, but the spy race is still going on strong, and that's the reason we have to stay alert.
Austrian officials are looking for a woman who allegedly had an affair with Bloch. CBS News has been told that the woman may be closely associated with several Austrian businessmen suspected of smuggling valuable Western high-tech information to East Germany and the Soviet Union. Leslie Stahl, CBS News, the White House.
Another major change today in the way the Soviet Union is run. The Supreme Soviet voted to give the Baltic states a large measure of self-rule. That action, as Barry Peterson reports, is already proving infectious as well as contentious.
It's the most dramatic step toward independence for the Baltic states since they were annexed by the Soviets 50 years ago. The Supreme Soviet overwhelmingly passed resolutions allowing Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania to establish virtual economic freedom from Moscow beginning next year. And already today, other republics want the same. It's very historic, said this delegate from the Ukraine. It is the way all republics should go. I'm ashamed we weren't the first to propose it. The move comes as Russian workers shut down docks and factories in Estonia in strikes staged against the background of growing anti-Russian sentiment in that republic. Russians and other immigrants held huge weekend protests as well against proposed laws on voting and the required use of the Estonian language. Moscow is grudgingly tolerating the push toward independence because the Baltics have become the most successful testing ground for Mikhail Gorbachev's economic reforms.
The danger is, however, that it will lead to further demands for political independence, which might lead to fragmentation, and that in turn would lead to reaction by the centre to claw back its powers.
And the power of the Kremlin is already dangerously under siege from growing ethnic violence across this nation. As the dead are buried, there are increasing calls for freedom, not just from the Kremlin's economic planners, but from the Soviet Union itself. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Moscow.
There was finally a conviction today in the murder of Sweden's Prime Minister Olof Palme 3.5 years ago. A Swedish court found 42-year-old career criminal Christopher Pettersson guilty and sentenced him to life in prison.
Life without cholesterol. Give up the best things in life. What's left?
New Miracle Whip cholesterol-free dressing. Now you get all the taste of regular Miracle Whip and absolutely no cholesterol.
I do?
New Miracle Whip cholesterol-free. Now the best things in life are cholesterol-free.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And now see the light. Miracle Whip Light's cholesterol-free.
It took 2,000 years, but a revolutionary discovery is changing the way men think about coloring their gray hair. It's called Just for Men, from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, shampoo out. Your gray is blended away, leaving your natural-looking color. 5 minutes. Here, look at me. Just for Men leaves your hair looking healthy and fuller, and it won't fade or wash out. Just for Men, in the men's hair care section.
Got a flat tire. Now my stomach's on fire. My day. And my Lanta, too.
Introducing Mylanta 2 roll packs for double strength antacid relief wherever you are.
Because my life takes my Lanta, too.
Co-star of TV's My Sister Sam, most recently in the film Class Struggle in Beverly Hills. Then came a stranger, and a bullet took her life. In this week's People, Rebecca Shaver's tragic story and the threat of fans obsessed. People, that's what we're all about.
For the second time in 8 days, a McDonnell Douglas DC-10 airliner has crashed with many lives lost and many questions open. At least 82 people were killed today when a Korean Air DC-10 went down in Libya. Last week's DC-10 crash in Iowa claimed 111 lives. More about today's crash from Tom Fenton in London.
The Korean Air DC-10 crashed and burned just short of Tripoli Airport, demolishing cars and ripping through 2 houses, killing a family of 4. Hundreds of rescue workers carried away victims as firefighters hosed down the wreckage. The exact number on board is still not known. It was roughly 200, but more than half may have survived. Pictures of the wings seem to show the flaps still retracted, perhaps indicating mechanical failure. The Korean broadcasting system said the pilot reported engine trouble and attempted a belly landing. Airport authorities said fog had cut visibility to only 800 feet. An hour earlier, a Soviet airliner rerouted to Malta rather than land in the fog. The Libyans say the pilot of the Korean plane was warned of the poor visibility but tried to land anyway. The pilot, who survived without serious injuries, told airline officials he lost contact with the control tower for 15 minutes before the crash. The reports are still confusing, and much of what has been said has not yet been verified. There are serious questions of pilot error if he tried to land in a dense fog, but it's also possible he may have had no choice. The DC-10 itself may have been at fault. The Libyans have opened an investigation, but the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board has not been invited to help. Tom Fenton, CBS News, London.
Just hours after today's crash, the International Airline Passengers Association called on the U.S. government to ground the entire DC-10 fleet, if necessary, to fix whatever is wrong with the DC-10s. The Consumer Protection Group said that before today's crash, 17 DC-10s have been wrecked and more than 720 people killed in accidents involving hydraulic failure.
You don't have to be a professional athlete to know the importance of including whole grains in your diet. But of these leading cereals, only one is made with 100% whole grain. Only Wheaties. So only Wheaties has the whole grain nutrition you want, no matter what field you're in. Just ask Oral Hershiser. Better get your whole grain.
Better eat your Wheaties.
How's Mama doing?
It's already happening. People calling long distance with 1 free month of U.S. Sprint. To get your free month, call Sprint now. This is one offer that seems to be catching on.
Killing used to be so messy. It was.
New Black Flag dry flying insect killer kills with no mess because it goes on dry.
There's nothing like a good, clean kill.
Black Flag.
Now, new scientific tests prove Heart's Blockade Repellent gives your pet total protection against fleas and ticks, or your money back. Unsolicited, here's what some satisfied Blockade users have told us.
Blockade is a great spray. I use it on my 4 dogs, and they have had no fleas for 2 months. I wish all dog owners would try it.
Last spring, we purchased a can of Blockade, and the entire spring and summer, we didn't have 1 tick or flea. Your product is wonderful.
Heart's Blockade, guaranteed flea and tick protection that really works.
The Senate Judiciary Committee today delayed until next Tuesday a vote on the controversial nomination of William Lucas to be President Bush's civil rights enforcer. At the same time, CBS News was told today that Lucas reportedly tried to have a civil rights case against the city of Birmingham, Michigan, dropped in 1981. Lucas was at that time sheriff of Michigan's Wayne County. James Usry is the mayor of Atlantic City, New Jersey, president of the National Conference of Mayors, and tonight charged with crimes. Correspondent Richard Schlesinger reports on the arrest today of the mayor and other Atlantic City officials in a major corruption investigation.
35 cents.
Newspapers rushed out with extras and people could only shake their heads. One said they're locking up the whole town, and he wasn't far from wrong.
Criminal complaints charging variously bribery, misconduct in office, conspiracy, and election law violations.
And those complaints are against most of the senior city officials. After an undercover investigation, Mayor James Usry was arrested early this morning. He was one of 13 people brought in.
Hang in there, hang in there.
Police paraded the arrested leaders before a crowd of the defendant's supporters. The president of the city council, 2 councilmen, a former councilman, and the chairman of the zoning board.
And what are we going to do about a city council board? Who's going to vote or anything?
The charges paint a dark picture of Atlantic City where, according to police, money could buy city licenses, city franchises, and exemptions from rent control laws. During the course of the investigation, the state police reportedly paid out $60,000 in bribes, and they were all welcome. One city official allegedly told an informant, "Whatever you need, I'll do."
There was no area into which we entered that we couldn't buy our way.
Most of those arrested today are black, and that led to charges that the prosecution was racially motivated. One defendant spoke while in custody.
And what they try to do, any black figurehead, is they're purging out because they want to change the new government here so they can control it.
Supporters of the mayor were still behind him, even as he and the others were taken away.
You'll be all right. He got mixed up with greedy people who took advantage of his political naivety.
In Atlantic City, millions of dollars changed hands at the gaming tables, yet the reported bribes in this case were relatively small. In a town of high rollers, the public officials were allegedly available at what one law enforcement official called a small cost. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Atlantic City.
The House Judiciary Committee decided today to protect the American flag with a new statute law rather than a constitutional amendment. By a vote of 28 to 6, the panel approved a bill that would outlaw physical desecration of the American flag. Violators would face a fine and up to a year in jail. A vote by the full House won't come until after the congressional summer recess.
Thousands of years ago, the world was introduced to a vehicle that could travel in some of the worst weather and hold plenty of cargo. This year, history repeats itself. The new four-wheel drive Subaru Legacy Wagon. After thousands of years, man still can't improve the weather, only the way he travels through it.
Why can't they make a stronger flea collar?
Someone has. Scratch X. Look,
Compared to Hearts and Sergeants, Scratch X has the power to kill twice as many fleas. Compare. All these collars kill fleas, but Scratch X has the power to kill twice as many fleas, since it's government approved to work twice as long.
Yet Scratch X is safe for 3-month-old pets.
Remember, compared to Hearts and Sergeant's 5-month collars, the Scratch X 11-month collar has the power to kill twice as many fleas.
Now a great cherry taste comes to Maalox Strength. New Maalox Plus Cherry Cream Tablets with the medicine doctors recommend most and a cherry taste you'll love. New Maalox Plus Cherry Cream Tablets. Strong relief for all your Maalox moments.
Now Total Raisin Bran is no longer the most nutritious. It's new Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Raisin Bran. With more vitamins and minerals, the one with the most nutrition is Nutri-Grain.
The Federal Environmental Protection Agency today reported a sharp increase in air pollution caused by excessive levels of ozone. As many as 30 million Americans are now breathing unhealthy air. And as correspondent Bruce Morton reports, the evidence is right in front of your nose.
If you think the air you breathe is getting worse, you're probably right. Last year, the government said 64 geographical areas violated ozone standards. New EPA figures out today say now 101 areas have too much ozone in their air, and ozone is the principal ingredient in smog.
The nation's health and welfare is indeed at risk because of the unacceptable ozone levels.
The EPA said its figures on carbon monoxide and other pollutants showed some improvement, but overall, as many as 110 million Americans may now be breathing polluted air.
Programs have been slowed, they've been delayed, they've been weakened, they've been repealed. We just haven't followed through on the promise to the American people to clean up the air.
The EPA lists 4 areas with severe ozone pollution: Los Angeles, Houston, New York, and this year's newcomer, Chicago. Chicagoans were not surprised.
Some of the smells in the air are sometimes just awful. You can drive and all of a sudden this odor just comes right into the car and says, "Hi, I stink." So
you look at your face and you think, oh, it's just humidity, and you get a like grime layer on your face.
Up in the stratosphere, the ozone layer is good for humans, blocking harmful radiation. Down on the ground, though, it makes smog. What makes ozone are things like automobile exhaust, chemical manufacturing, solvents, paint. What it does is inflame lung tissue. Out of frustration, some individual cities, like Irvine, California, have been tougher than the federal government on environmental problems like this.
We know that we are part of the problem here in Irvine. We believe that we can be and will be part of the solution.
Today's figures will add to the debate about a new national law. How tough should it be? Or will we have to get used to breathing air we can see? Bruce Morton, CBS News, Washington.
And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. We hope you and your family will stay tuned now for the program 48 Hours on the impact of the Exxon Valdez Alaska oil spill on the environment and our economy. That'll be tonight at 8, 7 Central Time. So see you again here soon on 48 Hours.
Crude awakening, Alaska after the Valdez, wounded and worried, a new fight for America's last frontier, an all-new 48 Hours tonight.
This is CBS.
Good evening, I'm Chris Clark. Coming up next at 6, the mayor and some council members are traveling to Cincinnati tomorrow. We'll look at their plans for free flights. Amid the police department budget crunch, our Larry Brenton found out that the department paid one officer more than it should have paid him. And the